Hi, everyone. This has been a day of days where, starting at 7 o'clock this morning, I started getting phone calls about breaking news and animal mutilations and trying to continue to communicate with a couple of people who were going to go up to Sunspot to see what the current status was. And I was able to.
It's still unlisted. We have to start over.
Hi, everyone. Sorry that we are late. There's been a terrible thunderstorm here tonight, but it is now quiet. And because of breaking news, starting at 7 o'clock this morning and going all day long until I was editing just about a half hour ago an interview with the Otero County Sheriff, Benny House, on what in the world has happened at Sunspot. And so tonight, what I'm going to do is lead off with that story and then evolve and go through a whole bunch of other news that came to me today. And I have been trying to get everything organized so I could share with you tonight. So thank you for your patience in these first 15 minutes. Now, since the FBI closed down the National Solar Observatory in Sunspot on September 6th, no one, not even the Otero County Sheriff, Benny House, has known why for the past 2 weeks. The press release issued late in the day on Sunday, September 16th, about 3 days ago, from the Association of Universities for Research in Astronomy, also known as AURA, said there was, quote, an ongoing law enforcement investigation of criminal activity that occurred at Sacramento Peak, close quote, their press release. The Solar Observatory is atop Sacramento Peak's 9,200-foot crest, and it overlooks the sensitive military installations of White Sands Missile Range and Holloman Air Force Base. The press release also stated, quote, the decision to vacate was based on the logistical challenges associated with protecting personnel at such a remote location, meaning the observatory on top of Sacramento Peak, and the need for expeditious response to the potential threat. AURA determined that moving the small number of on-site staff and residents off the mountain was the most prudent and effective action to ensure their safety, close quote. But if the FBI was ordering the close down and evacuation at AURA's request, those called to evacuate people and to provide security was the Otero County Sheriff's Office. And the lack of any information made Sheriff Benny House angry. This week, still with no information from the FBI or AURA about what the alleged criminal activity is, Sheriff House told the El Paso, Texas ABC affiliate, quote, I think it's chicken, S-H-I-T, the way the FBI handled it. Is there a bomb threat? Is there an active shooter? Is it chemical? We need to know so we know what kind of manpower to send up there. And without knowing, it's dangerous for everybody. We've asked and asked the FBI, and they will not tell us anything, close quote. Well, this afternoon, I talked with Sheriff Benny House by phone at his office in Alamogordo.
I did say that it was chicken shit.
What is this criminal investigation?
We don't know. We're not involved in the criminal investigation. All we know is that there was an FBI agent, at least one, on scene prior to our arrival. What their role was for even being up there, I'm not qualified to speak on that. All I know is that a confirmed threat was identified and was put out, but nobody would even identify the threat. And that's what upsets me. There's criminal investigations going on all over the world, all over the county at any given time. If they need our help, we'll help them. But what the investigation was, I have no idea. The threat is the portion that disturbed me because they weren't communicating that to us, which put people's safety at risk. The citizens, number one, and then my deputies, number two, because they would be responding to an unknown threat. It's just a bad deal all the way around.
Emails have been saying There was a bomb threat. There was a disgruntled employee. There was a Chinese spy. All of that has been circulating. Do you have any information about what the confirmed threat is?
No. Later learned through other media sources by watching TV, some of the news stations, that the threat was to employees and to the citizens in Sunspot.
As sheriff, wouldn't you expect that you would be told what the threat would be in that National Solar Observatory?
Yes. The problem where I got upset, my officers who are going to be responding, because if something happened, we're going to be the first responders. We're going to be the first ones on scene, and we need to know what we're getting into. And they called and asked for our help, and then when we got there, they wouldn't tell us what they wanted help with, other than they want us to stand by. And you don't ask for a standby unless you feel like there's a threat or a potential threat. They would not even tell us why. They were very tight-lipped over it. I'm sure they'd taken direction from the AURA group, but it's disturbing to me that we weren't told anything. Now, for what it's worth, this morning I was contacted by the SAC, who runs the New Mexico FBI office, and he told me he heard some of my statements, and he assured me that he's going to look into it and see if FBI followed their protocol. And we're going to meet up sometime next week and see what both sides can do better in the future.
And that the security guard at the National Solar Observatory said there were still no details to give publicly about the alleged criminal activity. And as I talked with the sheriff, could it be a bomb threat? Is it something dealing with spy activities over White Sands and at Holloman Air Force Base? Is it a threat between somebody who is a person to the community? And why is it that they would still have boards over all of the windows, not technically really opened up? Now, this story is not over, as the sheriff told me this afternoon, until the rest of us in the public and the media and his office learn what really happened on September 6, 2018, to cause the FBI to shut down the National Solar Observatory, and that it was the observatory and Aura that called the Otero County Sheriff's Office for evacuation and security help. Sheriff House invited me to keep in touch with him, so I hope that I'll have new information next Wednesday for you on my YouTube channel, and that we can continue to work out some of these broadcast issues that we have been having. In the meantime, if anyone listening is in a whistleblower category and that you have firsthand information about any aspect of the so-called criminal activity at the observatory, please email me at earthfiles@earthfiles.com. All requests for anonymity are always honored, but some of you may have information that could help try to penetrate this strange ongoing mystery that, by Aura putting out the press release on Sunday that the observatory would be open on Monday, has not really solved this mystery. Now, sadly, in lots of other news today, here are more animal mutilation headlines. Quote, reward offered for information in East Vancouver, British Columbia.
Hello everyone, my name is Lee Golden, and yet again, another airport in London, the Heathrow Airport, is closed down due to a drone or a UFO that's been spotted. This is very bright to be a drone, but I'll show you some more footage. Here's some faraway footage, and here's the apparent drone or UFO. It could be a helicopter. I'm not sure what it is, but it's blinking. It's kind of bright to be a drone. I'm going to show you one more footage. I'll post you guys other clips on the matter so you can view it for yourself. Now, I don't know if this is the helicopter or the drone, but this is really starting to get really weird. My name is Ligo, and subscribe and like my videos, darn those UFO drones, and I'll post you guys other links, and have a good one.
I'm joined by our I-24 News London correspondent Jonathan Sashardati, our cybersecurity expert Ram Levy, and Avner Truniansky, VP of Strategy for Vorpal Corp, specializing in drone detention technology. Thank you, gentlemen, with me in the studio. And Jonathan, I want to begin with you there for us in London. First of all, the story has been developing in a very unpredictable way. Let's get your update on the latest.
Well, we know that back in August of this year, the Israeli defense contractor Rafael did confirm to Janes, the military and aerospace publishers, that the UK had procured the Israeli-made Drone Dome counter-unmanned aircraft system. The UK bought 6 of the units for over $25 million, and they're usually deployed in Syria to destroy ISIS UAVs. Now, then there was that report that they were used in Gatwick, where there had been numerous sightings of drones around the airports. Drones, of course, can interfere with commercial aircraft, and that does pose a danger. But then we heard from one police officer in charge of the investigations just a few days ago that maybe there had never been any drones in Gatwick at all, and that they were relying on human sightings. Of course, the police then backpedaled from that, saying that there were indeed so many drone sightings that they were confident that drones had been seen, and they were investigating all of those different sightings from different people, ranging from members of the public through to airport officials. It does seem, however, that they're no closer to finding out who's responsible for flying drones in the area. Now they're offering a £60,000 reward for anybody who can give information which will result in a successful arrest of those people involved. And that's after they arrested a married couple who are apparently drone enthusiasts, keeping them in police custody for 36 hours for questioning, apparently treating them so badly that when those two were interviewed after the event, having been cleared, they had an alibi for where they were that entire time. The man was at work fitting windows. The man broke down into tears when he told reporters of how he'd been treated. So definitely a lot of confusion still going on in this Gatwick case.
So these unpredictable developments notwithstanding, Ram, there are laws in place regulating the use of drones, certainly in Israel. The Israel Privacy Authority has also touched on this. But are they keeping up with the advancement of technology? Drones are developing maybe faster than laws can regulate them.
Well, there are laws. The Israeli Aerospace Authority has issued rules, and you need to be licensed in order to use drones for professional purposes. If people buy drones, there are limitations to where they can fly them, what's the altitude they can fly them, where they can take photos, and so on and so forth. But yes, the biggest problem is not the laws; is how you enforce the laws. How the police knows how to enforce it. Who do you call when someone is using a drone to look at your house? That's what the problem is right now.
So there are many concerns, not just for safety, but also for security. And Avner, tell us about your company and the solutions you provide in this regard.
Gladly. Good to be here. Vorpal provides an RF-based detection technology for drones. What we do basically is we deploy several sensors kilometers apart, and we detect the drone's RF signals. The drone is communicating with the operator, or the operator is actually operating the drone, and there is an uplink and a downlink communication between these two parties. And what we do is we use a passive RF-based detection techniques to detect the actual existence of a drone in the air. Once it's detected, we can also geolocate it, pinpoint it with very high accuracy of tens of meters, and then we track it as it flies along. So we can then provide whoever owns the system, our system, with information about the location of the drone and also the location of the operator of the drone.
So that specific system is also what makes the company stand out from other services that provide the same? Yeah,
I wouldn't say plenty, but there are numerous solutions out there of various technologies. As far as we analyze the market and the technologies, most of what's out there has some sort of limitation. Most of the solutions cannot see the operator, and as you see in the Gatwick event, finding the operator is probably what police wanted to do more than actually catch the drone itself. They wanted to catch the operator. The holy grail, so to speak, is to provide a system with zero false alarms. And since we do very complex signal analysis solutions, we feel that our solution, or so far as we've tested it, our solution provides basically zero false alarms. So if we say there's a drone in the air, it's out there.
Ram, drones are also, of course, fun to look at and to view and to try to use, and we have to address the drone you brought for us in studio today. Tell us about it.
Well, that's a Mavic, DJI Mavic drone. I'd say it costs less than $1,000. And what it allows you is to take almost full HD videos. You can fly it all at an altitude of almost 300 meters, sometimes even more, depending on the wind. Now, the more advanced drones can actually carry different payloads. For example, you can take thermal payloads. You can take communication payloads like Wi-Fi payloads, so you can extend the range of a network. You can hack to networks using new drones because instead of using a payload which is a camera or a video camera, you can use a payload which is something else. And this something else is now introducing new concerns such as security concerns that we are so worried about.
And speaking of new concern, Jonathan, I want to circle back to you before we wrap in London. Do you feel, Jonathan, that this story in the UK is still, as some would call it, a hot potato as it was when it just erupted, or has the concern now waned?
Absolutely. This is a great concern to many British people who criticise the government for their slow action on it and the police and army. And simply put, there has been no solution yet, which means that anybody who did this and hasn't been caught, or anybody watching them who wants to repeat it, whether they be an individual, an eco-warrior protester, or even another state actor, like, for example, Russia, who have certainly been wreaking havoc on the streets of Britain, they could all repeat this very easily. And this attack demonstrated how easy it is to ground the air traffic of one of Great Britain's busiest airports,
Yes.
Great problems and failings in the security of Britain's airports.
And we're still following up on that question on screen. What happened at Gatwick Airport?